7 spine-chilling hotel horror tales. 7 sinister guests exposed what checked in wasn't human. The Sanchez family drove through the winding roads of Elmwood, the last vestiges of daylight fading behind them like a closing door. After a week of relentless chaos, long commutes, and endless city buzz, the Clover Creek Hotel loomed ahead, its rustic charm a perceived refuge. The moment they stepped inside, however, Maria and David were greeted by a sullen receptionist who barely acknowledged them, her sunken eyes buried in the flickering screen of her computer. It was odd, but desperate for a break, they shrugged off the unsettling vibe, encouraging each other that a weekend getaway would do them good. In their room, twilight ushered in a shadowy chill. The walls were decorated with whimsical landscapes, but as Sophia peered out, the trees became monstrous silhouettes against the darkening sky. She was drawn to her sketchbook, filling pages with innocent doodles that soon twisted into haunting figures staring back at her. David chuckled nervously, but soon his laughter faded when Lucas's whispers turned to fearful cries. "I hear voices, Dad." The room felt claustrophobic as David raked a trembling hand through his hair, dismissing the unease as a result of city stress. They ventured to the front desk for help with flickering lights, but the receptionist remained oblivious, eyes glazed over, completely neglecting them. Cornering a passing maid, Maria's heart raced as the woman's eyes darted around in panic. "This place is better left undisturbed," she muttered before hurrying away. New waves of discomfort crashed over Maria as she recalled Sophia's drawings and Lucas's fears. Something was wrong, something was lurking, but David remained resolute, brushing aside their worries, insisting they simply needed sleep. Sleep was elusive. Shadows whispered, and the air thickened. Lucas saw a figure flash past their window. Sweaty palms gripped the sheets as the two children huddled close. They needed to get out, but morning promised only more dread. Breakfast in the dimly lit dining area was suffocating. Hollow-eyed guests whispered frantic tales, voices from the darkness, scratching sounds in their rooms. Maria's stomach churned at the sight of an elderly man unraveling a newspaper, articles about missing persons linked to Clover Creek Hotel, dating back decades. With a firm resolve, they decided to escape this nightmare, but a wave of panic surged through the family as they realized their car keys were gone. "They're here," someone whispered nearby, voices thick with fear. The walls felt like they were closing in as guests now bore expressions of sheer terror, realizing they were not mere travelers. They were prisoners here. Shadows flickered in the hall, dread creeping over them like vines. In the midst of this nightmare, a gusty wind slammed the emergency exit shut. A scream pierced the silence, explosive with despair. Figures emerged from the darkness, reflecting their own fears back at them: entrapment, loss, horror. Was this hotel preying on them, feeding on their anxieties? Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Panic swept through the Sanchez family as they stood frozen. Could they resist the malevolence coiling around them? Time was running out. They had to confront whatever haunted this hotel before their fears turned into something far worse than nightmares. As shadows crept closer, they glanced at each other, hearts pounding. Would they become the next lost souls of Clover Creek? Desperation clawed at Maria's throat as she struggled to keep her composure. With shaky breaths, she grabbed the children's hands, feeling the tremors in their little fingers. We have to find a way out," she urged, her voice barely a whisper, as fear pulled in her gut. David checked his watch, the ticking hand echoing ominously in the heavy silence. "Let us try the back entrance," he suggested, steeling himself against the primal urge to flee. They sidled toward the flickering lights of the hallway, shadows darting just out of sight. The walls seemed to breathe, and every creak felt like a warning. With each step, dread tightened its grip. Lucas's wide eyes reflected terror, darting to every shadow, every warped corner of the hallway. What if they don't let us go? he breathed, voicing a fear that seemed all too real. The air thickened around them, heavy with unseen eyes. Suddenly, a piercing scream resonated from above, followed by a heavy thud. Maria froze, her heart thundering in her ears. "Did you hear that?" She snapped her gaze up. "What was that?" Panic surged, but David nudged her forward, determined to keep his family moving. They couldn't linger, they couldn't be found. As they neared the emergency exit door, which now loomed as a beacon of hope, the unmistakable sound of scratching echoed just behind them, slow and deliberate, like the ticking of a countdown. Maria's pulse quickened. She could feel the icy breath of something sinister trailing them. "Faster," David urged, pulling Sophia and Lucas along. The children stumbled, their footing faltering as the scratching grew louder, almost mocking, as if savoring their growing dread. Then, the lights flickered violently, plunging them into darkness. In that consuming blackness, they could only hear their own ragged breaths and the frantic heartbeat thumping in their chests. The air turned impossibly cold, a stark contrast to the warm feel of the day that had slipped away. Just then, a chilling voice whispered from the shadows, barely audible but unmistakable. "You can't leave." The words dripped with malicious glee, freezing Maria's blood. "No, no, no!" she gasped, panic seizing her thoughts. Frantic, she gripped the handle of the emergency exit, her mind racing with images of their escape. Would they burst through this door into safety or into a world far more sinister? As the children screamed behind her, something unnatural surged from the darkness, slamming into the door with bone-crushing force. Maria felt her heart drop. They were far beyond any safety, entangled in a web of terror that knew no end. "Get back!" David shouted, pushing the kids away from the door. In that paralyzing moment of dread, the door rattled violently as if the hotel itself demanded their souls to stay. A crash resounded, sending splinters flying as the door exploded inward, revealing a mass of swirling shadows. They reached out, black tendrils snaking into the air. The silhouette of a figure emerged, its features indistinct but radiating malice, evoking an all-consuming fear. "Stay close," David shouted, shielding Sophia and Lucas with his body. But in the chaos they scattered, the shadows beckoning. A voice hissed in outrage, rocking the very foundation of the hotel. As they huddled together again, Maria's mind raced. Could they truly fight back against this thing? Just then, a figure dashed past them, frantically clawing at the walls, and then it was gone. An eerie silence blanketed the hallway. "Did you see that?" Sophia murmured, her eyes wide with fear and confusion. "What if it was another guest?" Maria whispered urgently, grasping her daughter's shoulders. "What if this hotel is alive?" As dread coiled tighter, the walls began to pulse, the painting of a serene landscape twisting grotesquely in the low light. In that moment, the family's unity strengthened against the creeping despair. They had to confront the truth of this horrifying place, but how? David's voice trembled as he asked, "What are we going to do?" While the shadows thickened around them, tightening their grip. Outside, storm clouds gathered at the horizon, promising to unleash their fury. With their past shrouded in uncertainty and the grotesque figure lingering in the shadows, one question surged: would they uncover the dark secrets of Clover Creek Hotel, or be swallowed whole? The air crackled with tension as the doors slammed shut behind them, sealing their fate. The shadows writhed as if alive, pressing in on Maria, David, Sophia, and Lucas. The air turned thick with the stench of decay, a smell that twisted their stomachs. The whispers escalated into a cacophony of voices, each more sinister than the last, clawing at their sanity. Help us, we're trapped," they begged, merging into one terrifying echo. Maria's heart raced, her hands fiercely gripping the children as she felt the walls around them pulse, in time with the monstrous heartbeat that seemed to rise from the core of the hotel. "David!" she shouted, panic edging her voice. "What do we do? We have to move." He pushed against the nearest wall, searching for a way forward, anything that would lead them out of this nightmare. But every door, every opening either vanished or warped, blending into the surroundings as if the shadows were conspiring against them. The swirling mass loomed closer, grotesque faces forming within the shadows. They twisted in agony, their eyes glassy, mouths open in silent screams, reflecting the very horrors painting themselves in Maria's mind. "Keep moving, stay together," David urged, his face taut with fear. He scanned the area, desperate for any exit. But the hallway seemed to lengthen endlessly, weaving like a sinister labyrinth with no escape in sight. Just then, a sharp, rattling sound emerged, cutting through the oppressive roar. A door on the far wall jarred open, creaking ominously. An opportunity or a trap? "Quick, this way!" David called out, nudging the children forward. They dashed toward the door, hearts pounding like drums in an ominous symphony, each beat echoing the urgency of their flight. Inside, darkness enveloped them again, but this time it felt different, thicker, almost sentient. Soft whispers surrounded them, swirling around their ears. "Please save us," a voice stayed just out of reach, teasingly close, sending chills through Maria's veins. "Who is that?" she whispered, trembling as she glanced back. But it was only shadows, shadows that stretched and twisted in the murky light of the room, trying to pull her deeper into despair. "Don't listen to it," David growled, pulling them further inside. The room was a grotesque mockery of comfort. Furniture lay scattered and broken, a chandelier dangled perilously overhead, and dust hung thick in the corners like forsaken memories. Spider webs stretched across the windows, keeping the outside world at bay. Or perhaps trapping them inside. "Over there." Lucas pointed to an old, rusted window. Its glass was cracked but held tightly shut. Hope sparked in Maria's chest. "We can get out." "Stand back," David commanded, rushing to the window. He slammed his shoulder against it, but it wouldn't budge. The shadows coiled tighter, whispering curses, making the air quiver as if the room conspired against his efforts. "David, it won't work," Maria shouted, the dread bleeding back into their veins. Just then, the whispers became a roar, surging as shadows flicked towards David, clawing at him, trying to pull him away. "Let go!" he shouted, struggling against the darkness that seemed to drip from the walls. Maria rushed forward, gripping his arm in desperation. "Together!" she cried, her voice piercing through the chaos. Bolstered by her fear, their collective resolve reignited. They pushed against the darkness, every ounce of love for their children surging forward, fighting back. But as the shadows slackened, a vision pierced through the gloom faces of those destined to be trapped forever, and the chilling realization dawned on them. They were not alone in their screams. "Are we next?" Sophia trembled, wide-eyed. "Swipe your hands," Maria yelled, desperately searching the walls for anything that could provide escape. As if sensing their fear, the shadows twisted angrily, enraged by their fight. Panic morphed into a primal scream from deep in the blackness, making the very walls tremble. "Go!" David urged, lunging forward. "No!" Maria shouted, feeling the pull of darkness link around her ankles, tugging, drowning her in dread. Together, they shot forward, but the room erupted into chaos, the figure from before looming in formidable presence. "You cannot leave," it hissed, echoing in their minds as the rail against their sanity pushed forward. The storm outside burst to life with terrifying winds, rattling the windows, shaking the very church of terror they found themselves within. But before they could react, the shadow reached out, ready to claim their fate. As Maria felt the tendrils of darkness encircle her, her vision darkening, one last question burned in her mind: could they tear themselves from this nightmare? The shadows lunged forward, and then everything went dark. What remained of their struggling forms hung in the balance as the storm's fury raged outside, leaving an ominous silence in its wake. Maria blinked, struggling to summon the light from the darkness that consumed her. A series of muffled sounds reached her ears, incoherent and distant, like whispers carried on a cold wind. Gradually, her senses began to sharpen, reality seeping back in through the cracks of her fear. Her body felt heavy, as if anchored by the shadows that had crept closer. Panic ignited at the back of her throat. "David! Sophia! Lucas!" she called, but her voice seemed to dissolve into the void. Suddenly, something shifted nearby. The echoes stirred again, punctuated by a faint, desperate whimper. Maria strained her eyes, willing the darkness back just enough to see. "Mom?" It was Sophia's voice, trembling yet searching. Relief surged through Maria at that sound. "Sweetheart. Where are you?" The urge to move sent adrenaline racing through her, igniting her limbs. She forced herself upright, fighting against the weight of the darkness lingering around her. "Over here!" came Lucas's distant cry, followed by a soft thud. Sounds in the enveloping blackness were disorienting, yet she grasped for direction, following the echoes of her children's voices. As she stumbled forward, brief flickers of clarity emerged. Thin fingers of dim light peeked from cracks in the shadows, distorting the room into horrific shapes. Broken furniture veiled like specters loomed ominously around her, its sharp angles threatening at every turn. "Get to the voices," she urged, coaxing her body to move faster as she navigated the room. The shadows writhed, almost mischievously, as if enjoying her struggle. "Mom!" Sophia's voice, now louder, directed Maria's frantic search. "We're trapped in here. The shadows they won't let us go." "I know, baby," Maria replied, forcing strength into her voice. "But we'll find a way out. We have to stick together. Over here! Quick!" Lucas shouted again, and she followed his call, her feet shuffling against cold, dead wood. With each scuffled step, the whispers multiplied, their tones now filled with anger, their words curling around her like fingers. "Join us, stay with us," they coiled tightly, urging her to succumb to the darkness. Suddenly, she stumbled into David. His face was pale, oddly illuminated by a bare thread of light emanating from a beat-up lantern abandoned on the floor. "You're okay?" he asked, his voice a tight whisper. "We have to find Sophia and Lucas." They went through. David's voice trailed off as a shudder rippled through him. "It's not safe. I saw what was back there." "What do you mean? What did you see?" "Too many eyes. Faces twisted in pain. They want us, they're hungry." He fell silent, the terror gripping him almost palpable. "David!" Maria felt her heart race anew at his words. Shadows gathered closer, creating a suffocating fog, engulfing them in darkness. "We can't let them take us." "Listen!" he hissed, yanking her closer. "That voice, it's among us. It's trying to confuse us." But just as he said that, the darkness shifted. A slashing pain surged through the air, whispering secrets no one should ever hear. Someone, or something, was close, a wretched creature lurking beyond their sight. "David, help!" Sophia cried, her voice suddenly near, filled with raw fear. "Hold on!" Maria yelled, grasping David's hand. They pushed forward together, each step battling against the unseen entities clawing at their sanity. Out of the murk, the shadows pulled back momentarily, revealing a hallway that stretched into infinity, lined with eerie reflections of their own desperate faces. In the distance, the ghostly shimmer of candlelight beckoned, and the sharp crack of thunder splintered through the air above. But hope twisted into fear as the whispers crescendoed, louder now, drowning out their resolve. "You are ours forever." David's grip tightened around her, but the shadows surged in, wrapping around his legs like a snake. "Maria! Don't let go! Don't fight it!" A voice hissed from the darkness, mocking them. "Embrace your fate." With a shaking breath, she caught sight of Sophia and Lucas, huddled and wide-eyed at the edge of the wall, seemingly untouched by the horrors around them. "Over here!" Maria shouted, pulling David toward them, the tears streaming down her face. But the room twisted again, shifting at their tap, the walls threatening to collapse in. Just as they reached for the children, the air crackled, the shadows solidified, and a figure emerged, cloaked in darkness. An ominous voice echoed, "The time is near, will you bargain for your souls?" Everything hung in stillness, a suffocating pause that felt eternal. Hearts pounding as they faced the malevolent being, they realized with dread, every choice now would lead to their salvation or end in despair. Could they outrun the curse in the shadows, or were they destined to pay a price far too high? The whispers stilled, the air thickened with anticipation, as the figure loomed closer, ready to seal their fate. The figure stepped closer, revealing a grotesque face twisted in torment, its eyes burning with an insatiable hunger. Maria felt herself freezing, her breath shallow. "What do you want?" she gasped, struggling to keep her voice steady. "Your essence, your fear," it hissed, each word laced with malice. Shadows rippled around the creature's form, as if the darkness itself were alive, writhing at its command. "No!" David shouted, pulling Maria protectively behind him. "You wouldn't take us?" His defiance echoed hollowly, swallowed by the vast, enveloping void. The creature tilted its head, baring teeth that seemed to glimmer like sharpened blades in the low light. "So brave yet so foolish. You have no choice. The shadows here are bound to your souls." With that, the hallway twisted further, walls warping and groaning as if responding to the entity's words. Maria clutched David's arm tightly, the panic within her bubbling to the surface. She needed to think, to act, but every heartbeat felt like a countdown. "Stay close," she urged, turning to Sophia and Lucas, who were trembling but planted firmly beside them. "We must go toward the light." But before she could make a move, the room surged with the whispers of tortured souls, crescendoing into a cacophony that pressed hard against her ears. "You can't escape, join us," the voices mixed with the throbbing of her heart, drowning out everything else. "Mom! Where do we go?" Lucas's eyes were wide with fear, darting around for an escape that wasn't there. "The light. We have to get to the lantern," she cried, pointing toward the flickering beacon not far off, barely illuminating their path in the all-consuming darkness. "Run!" David shouted, his voice breaking through the confusion. He took a step, but the shadows lunged, wrapping around his ankles like chains. "No! Help!" he gasped, struggling against their tight grip. "David!" Maria's heart raced, terror flooding her veins. She could feel the shadows drawing closer and wrapping around them too. But they couldn't leave him, she wouldn't abandon them now. "Pull him!" Maria yelled, reaching for her husband's hands. The weight of despair crashed over her as she struggled to drag David free. "Grab my hand!" David growled through gritted teeth, fighting against the darkness. It coiled tighter with each second, greedily pulling him deeper. "Now!" Maria shouted again, and with a surge of energy, she yanked at his arm, Sophia and Lucas linking hands with her, pulling together with everything they had. With one desperate lurch, they broke free, stumbling back against the wall. But relief was fleeting. The shadows narrowed again, distorting and pulsating, revealing more horrific faces, the once tortured souls, their anguish now their own essence. "They are coming!" Sophia screamed as she clung to Maria's leg, her eyes darting in fear. "There, the light!" Lucas pointed, his small hands trembling but determined. "Go!" Maria shouted, leading the charge. They sprinted forward, shadows clawing ineffectually at their heels. As they closed in on the lantern, the glowing light flickered once, twice, as if warning them to hurry. The darkness shrieked in frustration, unable to follow them directly into the light. But then, as if in slow motion, the light extinguished. Shadows surged, swelling to fill the void left behind, overwhelming and oppressive. An anguished howl erupted from the darkness. The faces twisted in despair surged forward, and suddenly, they were upon them. Maria understood this was no ordinary hotel. It was a prison, and every choice they made would either set them free or seal their fates forever. "David! We need to make a pact," she gasped, fear turning her insides to ice. Maybe that will buy us time." "Time?" he echoed incredulously. "Or take us straight to whatever hell lies beyond?" Their voices blended in the uproarious cries of the shadows, and the blackness churned, mocking their fear with wicked amusement. "Bargain, bargain," the voice crooned, hungry for their souls. Maria steadied herself against the wall, heart pounding, as the realization sunk in there was no clear path ahead and every moment counted. Would they dare strike a deal in the face of sheer horror? Facing an unspeakable choice, the children's eyes wide with fear, Maria steeled herself against the encroaching terror, knowing that whatever decision they made now could lead directly into damnation. or salvation. What would she say to the darkness that had come alive, gorging itself on fear? Time was running out, and they had one last chance to escape the shadows without knowing what they might unleash. The shadows rolled around them, thick and suffocating, a living thing that pressed against their very skin. Maria felt her heart race. Every pulse was a reminder of the dread that threatened to swallow her whole. The creature loomed closer, its gaze like fiery coals, consuming the little light that dared to remain. "Speak!" It snarled, its voice a low growl suffused with an unsettling blend of laughter and agony. "What do you offer in exchange for your pathetic lives?" Maria swallowed hard, composing her jumbled thoughts. What could they offer? What could possibly appease something born from darkness? We can give you our fear," she stammered, trembling. "All of it. Just let us go." A hollow chuckle echoed from the depths of the shadows, a chilling sound that seemed to reverberate off the warped walls. "Fear is all you have left. Your screams? Your despair? They are precious like fine wine aged in the deepest recesses of agony." "No!" David shouted, his voice breaking. "We want to give you anything." Lucas and Sophia clung to Maria, their anxious breaths mixing with the oppressive air around them. "Mom, please!" Sophia whimpered, her voice barely rising above the tormenting whispers. "I don't want to be here. I want to go home." Home, the creature elongated the word, twisting it into something sinister. "You long for the place you once found comfort? But that was before you set foot in my domain." Glimpses of regret flashed across David's face. Maybe it's true, we're already lost, David." "No!" Maria cried out. "Don't give in. We can find a way out. Together." Lucas added, his small voice fighting against the enveloping despair. "We can fight it. Brave, united little ones," the creature hissed, swirling towards them, its grotesque features flickering in and out of the shadows. "But unity is an illusion. Alone, you are weak. Together, you will face the shadows that bind you." A sudden crack echoed through the darkness, and a fissure opened in the air nearby. The light from the outside world flickered through, a stark contrast to the black abyss surrounding them. It pulsed with warmth, a beacon of hope. But that glimmer seemed to provoke an enraged shriek from the creature, sending tremors through the air. "Flee if you can," it howled. "But know this, the escape you seek will lead to horrors much greater than my domain." Maria inhaled sharply. "We go now. To the light." She grasped David's hand, pulling him toward the crack. But as they sprinted, the shadows lunged at them, their fingers clawing. Maria felt the cold grip of despair wrap around her throat, stalling her stride. "Help!" she gasped, as the claws of darkness clawed through the fabric of her shirt, tugging her backward. "David! No! I refuse to lose you!" he roared, wrenching her back to his side. They sprinted together, a flurry of desperate movement, and finally broke through the threshold to the light. Suddenly they tumbled forward, tumbling onto the ground beyond. Gasping, they scrambled up, spinning around to see the shadows writhing angrily on the other side of the thin barrier. The darkness shrieked, clawing against the seam between worlds, trying to push through. But where were they now? The relentless whispers faded but morphed into a new sound: laughter, the kind that comes from an unseen audience, the hollow sound of those watching, waiting. Maria scanned the surroundings. They stood on an old cobblestone street, lined with doors that seemed to watch them back, stained glass glinting like eyes peering into their souls. "What is this place?" Lucas asked, his voice barely a whisper. "This isn't over," Maria breathed, her heart thudding painfully in her chest. "We're still trapped, but where?" And as they turned, a figure took shape ahead, dressed in a long coat, brushing away the shadows that swarmed the street. It approached, its smile wide, revealing too many teeth, glimmering as if wet. "Welcome," it said, in a sing-song voice. "Welcome to the next stage of your journey. Shall we begin?" The street dimmed, shadows creeping closer, ready to reclaim what had escaped their grasp. The true depths of terror had just begun. The figure stepped closer, the streetlights flickering ominously above, casting erratic shadows that danced like phantoms around them. Each step echoed, a mocking rhythm that sent chills skittering down Maria's spine. It had a presence that commanded attention, and yet elicited dread. "What do you want from us?" David asked, voice trembling, instinctively positioning himself in front of Maria and the kids. The creature's grin widened, stretching unnaturally across its face. "Oh, my dear boy, you misunderstand. This is not what I want, but what you desire." Its voice dripped with malice, imbuing the air with a lingering sense of dread. Lucas clutched Sophia's hand, both of them shivering under the heavy mantle of fear, their wide eyes scanning the dark corners of the glowing street. "We just want to go home," Sophia uttered, her small voice cracking. "Home is but a memory," the figure cooed. "What if I told you that here, in this place of forgotten dreams, you could reclaim lost things? Attention is what draws them. Offer them your deepest secrets, your shames, and perhaps your past will resurface." Maria felt her stomach churn. What did it mean by secrets? She cast wary glances at her family. "No, we won't play your games," she said defiantly, though her heart raced wildly against her ribs. The figure's laughter echoed hollowly, reverberating through the cobblestone streets. "Ah, but even resisting is a game of its own. You see, the house knows. It knows all your fears, all your regrets. They whisper through the walls like lost souls, begging for release." "Shut up!" David shouted, stepping forward. "You think you can scare us into submission? You're wrong." The figure tilted its head, as if considering him. Boldness, how adorable! It stretched out a thin, spindly hand, and a door creaked open on the side of the street, inviting yet foreboding. "Care to find out what lies within? Or shall I unleash the shadows to reclaim what it lost?" Maria could barely find her voice. The idea of entering that door made her heart tremble, yet the thought of the shadows closing in on them was a weight she couldn't bear. The street pulsed with energy, radiating a wrongness that pricked at her skin. "Go!" Lucas pulled at her arm, his voice urgent. "They could be playing with us," Maria replied, torn as panic surged. The shadows danced closer, their patience wearing thin. "What if they are just lost people like us?" Sophia asked, her innocence piercing through the thick dread that enveloped them. "Maybe we can help them. Maybe the shadows will go away if we listen." David's eyes widened. "No! You can't reason with these things. They feed on our fear." The door beckoned, a gateway draped in mystery and terror. A muffled whisper brushed against her ear, slipping through the veil of uncertainty. "What do you wish to find? Freedom? Knowledge? Or the darkest truth about your family?" "Enough!" Maria shouted, her voice cutting through the thick tension. "We're not afraid." Laughter erupted from the figure again, bubbling with amusement. "Every secret has its price, and the cost may be more than you are willing to pay." As it laughed, a cold wind swept through the street, driving them back as the sky darkened, and the shimmering light flickered like a candle threatened by the storm. The figure took a step forward, shadows coiling around its feet like serpents waiting to strike. "Choose wisely," it whispered, each word curling like smoke into the night air. "You might just end up regretting your choices." Maria clenched her fists, squeezing David's hand as she turned to her family. "We need to decide, do we go in?" But no one answered. The air grew heavier, filled with the hum of fear. Each second stretched as they stood frozen between the door and the shadowy abyss closing in. What awaited them on the other side? The cost of their choice loomed over them like an impending storm. And as their breaths quickened, the laughter of the figure mingled with the whisper of shadows, promising that danger was far from over. What was the truth they were afraid to face? Would they gather the courage to step forward, or would the shadows envelop them in eternal darkness? The tension escalated, prompting them to glance at the door, a smirk visible on the figure's face. They had to choose, and with every heartbeat, time was running out. The figure's laughter swirled around them, a spine-chilling echo that wrapped them in a suffocating embrace. Maria felt her skin crawl, a visceral reaction to the disembodied giggle lingering in the air. She looked at David, whose eyes shone with the same frantic determination. "Look! We have to think clearly," he urged, his voice rising above the suffocating fear. We can't let whatever it is manipulate us. Suddenly, a gust of wind howled down the alley, pulling at their clothes like invisible fingers. The door creaked louder, its edges glowing faintly, illuminating twisted faces and gnarled hands trapped within the wood grain. Lucas pulled Sophia closer, their breaths shallow, the veil of terror thickening around them. What does it mean about secrets? He whispered, as though speaking the words aloud might awaken the entity lingering nearby. Maria's heart raced as she recalled memories she had buried deep, things she had told no one. Regrets, fears. Do we risk more by entering? Or by not entering? She wondered, voice trembling. The figure stepped closer, its smile widening. Ah, the allure of curiosity. It always pulls the most daring souls. All you need is to relinquish one tiny secret. Surely you have something to spare? Or would you rather I sift through your minds, unearthing the darkest corners myself? Maria's stomach twisted at the thought. No! I wouldn't let you inside our heads. The shadows snarled, creeping ever closer. David took a step forward, fists clenched. You can't bluff us. We won't be baited by your tricks. Such spirit, the creature crooned, eyes glinting like polished glass. But spirit has a way of breaking my offer stands. A single secret, a minor confession is all it takes to lift the weight of the night. Think, Maria urged, glancing between the door and the suffocating darkness. But doubt not at her resolve. What if this gamble could truly release them? Or worse, what if they had already lost? Another wave of wind swept through, this time carrying whispers faint but desperate. A chorus of voices, tugging at her senses. Help us, Sophia squeezed Lucas's hand, her innocent face scrunched in worry. What if they're good? What if they just need help? Maria's heart ached. She didn't want to involve her children in this nightmare. Behind their choice loomed a dark abyss that seemed more foreign than the shadows themselves. It's too risky, David breathed, his voice barely above a whisper. We stand here and we are bait. We step into that place, and we might lose everything. The creature leaned in, its breath cold and rancid. Or you might find everything you've lost, it taunted, each syllable dripping with seduction. Take a chance, or lose the only chance you have. At that moment, Maria felt the weight of every decision resting on her shoulders. Time seemed to condense, each second painfully stretching. They had been stalling, caught in an endless loop of horror. What if we offer a secret that doesn't mean anything? Lucas's small voice finally suggested, breaking the frigid silence. Something that won't hurt us, like what? Sophia asked, wide-eyed. A laugh erupted again from the figure, sinister and joyful. Think you can trick me? You would only seal your fate. Maria's heart pounded in her chest. Could they really outsmart the darkness? We need to hurry. There's no more time. She cried out, her mind racing through the consequences. With the shadows thrumming at their edges, closing in like a tightening vice, Maria had to make a choice. The door, the figure, the whispers, they all demanded action. Do we take the risk? She spoke, her voice quaking but determined. She could feel David's hand shaking as he held hers, the pulse of panic thrumming between them as they craned their necks back toward the door. At the precipice of decision, they felt something shift in the air, an impending surge of malevolence, not toward them, but towards something else, something lurking in the shadows themselves. What lay ahead in that doorway, she wondered anew, as every heartbeat echoed ominously in the straining silence. Would they find the truth that haunted them, blurring the lines of safety and peril? As the whispers crescendoed, pulsing in her ears, the shadows rustled menacingly, ready to claim what was theirs. Would they step forward to confront their demons, or fade away into the darkness forever? The moment stretched, weighted with dread. Maria's heart slammed against her ribcage like a wild animal searching for escape. The figure hovered at the edge of her thoughts, the laughter creeping in, steeped in malice and beckoning. What if we go inside? She blurted. It felt reckless, impulsive, like daring the universe to strike them down. But maybe it was the only way. Are you insane? David's voice trembled as he gripped her shoulder, desperation flashing in his eyes. We can't just walk into the darkness. Right now, standing here doesn't he feel safe either, she countered, her voice rising above the howling wind. It's a choice, and truth be told, I'd rather confront it than let it roam free. What if we can find a way to save the others? Sophia quivered, clutching onto Lucas, whose innocence shielded him momentarily from the horror unfolding. Mom? She whispered, voice barely audible. What if it hurts us? Maybe it won't. Maybe the key is to give it what it craves? Maria pleaded, fighting against the doubt gnawing at her mind. Deep within, she wanted to believe they would come out unscathed. But the figure's grin widened, teeth sharp like broken glass. Oh, so brave! So brave indeed! It crooned, voice simpering and oozing with false sweetness. Just one small step into the abyss, my dear. David shook his head, backing away from the door slightly. You're not seriously considering this? Lucas, do you have a secret you can share with it that doesn't matter? Maria asked, desperation sharp in her voice. The boy's brow furrowed. I hate spinach? The figure erupted into a fit of horrible laughter, its body writhing in delight. How deliciously pathetic. But I need something with more weight, wouldn't you agree? The shadows flickered, swirling in agitation around them, the darkness growing more palpable. Whispers filled the air again, sounding more urgent. Help us, save us. Maria turned, a chill rolling down her spine. Who were these voices? Were they victims like her? She took a faltering step toward the door. Maybe if I share something deeper, darker. No! David shouted, rushing in front of her. This is what it wants. It will devour you from the inside out. We stand together against it. The figure lunged forward, moved like a serpent, a tail of malevolence bristling behind it. Together? You're all just strands in my web. The air thickened, suffocating them, and Maria clutched David's hand harder. Stay close, she decreed. The facade of courage mustered in her voice, now shimmering for them all to see. But the shadows around them pulsed, alive and hungry. Shares give surrender. Maria's breath quickened. They were caught in the balance. What was the price of safety? She could feel the weight of unsaid words pressing on her throat, secrets she hadn't even known she carried. Listen to their cries, the figure whispered, a seductive lilt. They're trapped just as you are. A small secret in trade, you can set them free. What if it's a trick? Lucas whimpered, glancing at Sophia, who looked equally frightened. What if it's not? Maria countered, feeling a resolve swelling. She heard the whispers too, driving her heartbeat. But just as fast, doubt pulled her back. But in that tethered moment, an idea sprouted. What if one of us offered a secret that is real but innocent? Something small, one step in lieu of all? Sophia's blue eyes widened, filled with frightened hope. I can tell it I don't like the dark. The figure recoiled at that, its laughter scraping across the walls. Child, you think that will save you? You're so naive. Darkness is everywhere. With panic pooling like ice in her stomach, Maria felt that sinister tug again, the call of the shadows thickening around them. Was it time to yield? To barter something insignificant to save them all? Only hours until the final choice is made, the figure hissed, its breath wrapping tightly around her throat. As the accommodations of fate hung like a thread, Maria stood on the edge of everything, a leap toward the unknown or a march toward doom. The rising tide of whispers, pleading for relief, throbbed in her ears, drowning her sense of reason. Just as she braced to speak, a chill raced through her. Was the darkness suddenly thicker? Had something beyond them taken notice? In that moment, Maria saw shadows shifting in and out of focus, dark figures materializing at the door's edge. Were they victims, or were they predators? Terror surged through her, paralyzing. What if they were past sacrifices come to claim new ones? Do we bargain, or do we burn? Maria breathed, dread mixing with a desperate urgency. As the shadows writhed and the wind howled, the creatures outside stirred, hungry and unsated. What awaited them beyond that door, as dawning realization crashed in waves? Would offering an innocent secret still cost them everything? The tension hung heavy in the air, palpable and suffocating. Maria felt her heartbeat reverberate through her chest, a chaotic drum urging her to make a choice. The figure loomed closer, its smile stretching into a grotesque mockery of hospitality. Shadows slithered at its feet, hungry and impatient. "Step inside, and perhaps you will find what you seek," it crooned, as if the words were sweet nectar dripping from its lips. "No," David said firmly. "We will not play your twisted game." His voice, though fierce, trembled at the edges, revealing his fear. Maria backed him up, her own resolve flickering but holding strong. "Together, we are not weak. We won't let you manipulate us." The figure tilted its head, a motion so unnervingly graceful that it made the hairs on the back of Maria's neck stand on end. Ah, unity and hope, such fleeting concepts. But they will not save you in this realm. Behind them, the shadows thickened, shapes swarming like a tempest. Whispers filled the alley, now more urgent, more desperate. Help us," they echoed in a haunting chorus, resonating with her memories of fear and despair. Abruptly, Sophia broke free from Maria's grip, stepping forward. "I don't want anyone to be trapped here. What if we can help them?" "Don't!" Maria cried, reaching out, but Sophia pressed on, her eyes bright with pure determination. "But what if it's true?" Sophia insisted, her voice trembling with a mixture of fear and bravery. "What if they're just like us, lost? We can save them." The figure's smirk widened, encouraged by her courage. "Clever girl, perhaps your innocence would be worth trading for their release." "No!" David's voice boomed, shaking Sophia from her resolve. "This is what it wants. Look closely at those shadows. They may betray us." The darkness stirred, jittering with rage as the whispers turned into angry shouts, voices blending into a cacophony of despair. "Do you wish to bargain with the damned?" it hissed. The barrier between them and the darkness quivered, the air thickening like a storm cloud brewing. "Mom! What do we do?" Lucas's small hands gripped his sister's arm, eyes wide with terror. "Wait," Maria urged, her mind racing. She turned toward the figure, her voice slicing through the chaos. "What if we offered something else?" "A secret!" Sophia exclaimed. "Something small, something we can part with easily." The figure's laughter crashed over them, mirthless and biting. "Secrets? Oh, how delightful! I'd love to swim in your fears." David's grip on Maria's hand tightened. "We can't. Once you tell, it never ends. You'll walk out knowing you've sacrificed a piece of yourself." But as shadows writhed closer, whispering promises of release, Maria felt her heart waver. What was the real cost of silence? "We have to make a choice," Maria said, forcing her voice steady. "I can't give the shadows control over us. What if offering something lightened the burden and let them be free?" Sophia quivered but nodded, gathering courage from her family. "Together," Lucas urged, his face scrunched in determination. "We give a small secret, and maybe that will be enough." Maria's heart raced as she considered the implications. Maybe this could be their way out. Maybe fears wouldn't hold them forever. "A secret it is," she whispered, almost to herself, as shadows licked at her ankles. "But we choose. It will be one that doesn't destroy us, one that matters less." The figure shifted, anticipation igniting in its wicked, gleaming eyes. "Ah, a deal struck. Choose wisely, little ones." Maria took a deep breath, the tears pooling in her eyes for the weight of what lay ahead. "I don't like spiders," she blurted, forcing a nervous chuckle. "They creep me out." Laughter erupted from the darkness, bitter and loud, as if mocking her offering, twisting her innocent secret. "You wish? How quaint!" But not enough at that moment. The shadows swelled, rushing at them like a wave, desperate to reclaim their prize. "No!" Maria cried, instinctively wrapping her arms around her children, pulling them close. "Focus!" David shouted, latching onto them, shielding their bodies with his own. "We need something bigger. Something that can shake their hunger." "No!" Maria screamed, grappling with panic as she looked around. What if? But before she could finish her thought, the shadows lunged forward, gripping her legs, cold and suffocating as they pulled her back inch by inch. "Don't let go," David urged, while the whispers of the trapped souls clawed at their minds. "Fight it. We must join our strength." With a primal roar, David rallied them all, drawing upon their collective dread, squeezing tighter around one another. "What do we want?" "To be free. To escape." "Yes," Maria echoed, feeling strength surge within her. "We want freedom." Together, they released their fears into the air, pounding against the shadows that pressed upon them. A light sparked in their hearts, and the darkness shrieked in protest as it lost its grip. "We are more than our fears," Lucas shouted, his voice rising above the chaos. "We are family. We fight together." In that moment, the shadows recoiled, shrieking as if burned. With a surge of resilience, Maria thrust her arms out and cried, "Let them go. And we shall go too. We choose freedom." Light erupted around them, suffusing their surroundings with a bright glow that cleaved through the darkness, illuminating the twisted faces of the trapped souls. The creature roared in rage as the beams of light scattered the shadows, pushing them back, forcing them to writhe and retreat into the fabric of the night. "Together," the family shouted, the strength of their unity entwined with sheer belief. And in a burst of radiance, they broke free, tumbling through the glowing threshold and onto a vibrant street. For a moment, they lay panting, the weight of the shadows lifting as the air cleared. Maria looked around, her heart hammering in her chest. "We did it, we're free." Their surroundings burned bright with light and color, no longer twisted and hollow. Yet, in the far corners, Maria could feel a shiver of darkness trying to take root, creeping in as undercurrents of whispers still echoed. "In this endless fight, we have to be vigilant," David said, gathering his family tight. "We won, but they might still seek us out." Sophia leaned in close, her voice soft with lingering fear yet colored with hope. "We'll always be a team, right?" "Always," Maria affirmed, squeezing her children to her chest, looking into their eyes. "Together, we have the strength to face any darkness." And as they stood united, the familiar warmth of safety washed over them, cultivating a fragile but growing sense of courage. They had stared into the face of their fears and emerged into the light, knowing that moving forward was key, that they would fight together no matter where their journey would lead next. But they had taken their first step toward freedom, a first step into the unknown, now offering more hope than dread. As they walked deeper into the light, one thing stirred within them all, a new resolve. The shadows behind them faded, but vigilance must remain. The path ahead would be uncertain, but their hearts resounded with one irrefutable truth: love conquers all, even the darkness they thought would consume them. And with that, they stepped boldly into the vibrant world beyond, hand in hand, ready for whatever adventures awaited them next. You need to subscribe now, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that unfold. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm seriously, it makes a difference. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. What do you think lies ahead for the Sanchez family? Share your thoughts. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.